Tonight, family members are now identifying the victim killed in a crime that's tragically gone viral. That's when the accused killer live streamed from the crime scene. The suspect, 30-year-old Dominic Robinson, who identifies as a trans woman.
To the public, please do not believe every lie that some stranger tells you on the internet.
Finley was stabbed multiple times last Friday at the Warren home of 30-year-old Dominic Robinson. Finley's family says the two had been speaking online over a dating app, but had never met before that day.
McCarty was catfished by this picture. But when he arrived at the location, this is who he was met with. He was encountered by a biological male who was twice his size and who had been plotting to kill him for months.
There were several posts on social media leading up to the homicide indicating this.
I sit in this house and I drink. I mean, if you come in here and look at the liquor bottle, that's all the I do. Prison. What don't y'all understand? Come out for what? To go to jail for the rest of my life?
They deserve to sit in jail for the rest of their lives without the possibility of parole. That is all that I have.
Thank you.
Listen, when someone posts on Facebook saying, "I'll never respect somebody who knew I was already going through a lot and did me wrong. I want them dead," with not one but 2 skull emojis, and 553 people react to it, and 270 people share it, maybe, just maybe, we should take that seriously. Because that's exactly what Nicky Pop posted on November 1st, 2025. Public. On her timeline. For the whole world to see. And 6 weeks later, December 12th, she made good on that promise. Stabbed 29-year-old Mucari Finley to death in her Warren, Michigan home after catfishing him on a dating app. But here's what's really getting under my skin about this case. This wasn't some sudden snap. This wasn't a crime of passion. This was 4 months in the making, documented every single step of the way on social media, and we all just scrolled past it like it was another Tuesday. September 16th, grieving. October 17th, still hurting. November 1st, death threats with skull emojis. December 12th, murder. 4 months from funeral to execution, and every piece of it was posted online. The grief, the rage, the blame, the threats. It was all right there. And you know what we did? Liked it, shared it, moved on to the next post. Meanwhile, Mucari Finley, successful chef, worked with NFL and NBA players, came from a good family in Flint, no criminal record. Had no idea he was being blamed for someone's death. Had no idea Nicky Pop was plotting revenge. Had no idea that swiping right would be the last decision he ever made. Girl, we have receipts. We have the Facebook posts. We have the family's press conference. We have court footage. We have everything. And unlike every other channel covering this, I will not be showing you that live stream. Because Mucari's family asked the world to let their son rest. So we're gonna respect that and tell the real story. This is TikTok Crimes. And buckle up. This one is messy. So who is Nicky Pop? Let me introduce you to the woman the internet's been real selective about. Dominic Robinson, 30 years old, trans woman, goes by Nicky Pop online. Calls herself a social media influencer. And for 10 years, a whole decade, she was with Lawrence Carroll Matthew. Not dating casually, not some situationship. This was her religion, her exact words. Lawrence died August 14th, 2025. And here's what's weird. We got no official death record, no obituary, no news coverage, nothing public. Just Nicky's posts showing his urn, his funeral program, and her absolutely destroyed. Now listen, grief is real. Losing your partner of 10 years. That'll break anybody. I'm not mocking her pain. But somewhere between September and December, that grief turned into something else. Blame, rage, a need to make someone pay. And that someone was Mucari Finley. Okay, so this is where things get spicy, and I need y'all to lean in because there's rumors we gotta address. Mucari's family admits, on camera at their press conference, that Mucari knew Lawrence. There was some kind of relationship there, but they're very clear. Mucari had nothing to do with Lawrence's death. Not a drug dealer, not a drug user. Police investigated twice and found Nikki's claims completely baseless. But here's where the internet's been messy. There's whispers, and I'm saying allegedly, this is rumor territory, that maybe Mucari, Nikki and Lawrence had an arrangement. A threesome situation, regular hookups, all three of them. Now would this explain why the family can only say he knew Lawrence without getting into specifics? Absolutely. Can't exactly tell the news your son was in a throuple without opening up a whole conversation you don't want to have while planning his funeral. And according to these alleged posts floating around, the story goes, they'd hook up regularly, substances were involved, poppers, alcohol, the works, and the day Lawrence died, Mucari was allegedly there, brought the stuff they usually used. Lawrence took something wrong, overdosed, and Nikki blames Mucari for not helping, for leaving him to die. Is that true? I don't know. Family says no. Police say there's no evidence Mucari sold drugs or caused anyone's death. But it would explain why Nikki's narrative wasn't random drug dealer killed my man. It was personal, targeted, vengeful. Here's my question though. If they knew each other like that, why the dating app Catfish set up?
By this picture. But when he arrived at the location, this is who he was met with.
Think about it. You're Nikki. You know Mucari. You blame him for Lawrence dying. You want revenge? So, why not just confront him? Why create a fake profile with fake pictures and lure him to your house like you're strangers? My theory? Mucari either blocked her after Lawrence died, or they only ever met as a group with Lawrence present. Meaning Mucari didn't have her address, wouldn't show up if he knew it was her. The Catfish gave Nikki control, element of surprise, made sure Mucari would actually walk through that door. And it worked. December 12th, 2025. 5 a.m. Mucari shows up thinking he's meeting someone from a dating app. Pictures showed one thing. Reality, completely different. Nikki was waiting. Now, before we get into what happened next, there's one more rumor I got to address because people keep asking, was Nikki Pop on MTV's Catfish show? I looked. Searched episode lists, cast databases, everything. Found nothing. So either this is false, or it's buried deep. If you all have proof, drop it in the comments. But for now, I'm calling this one a rumor. Okay, so back to December 12th. Mucari walks in. And what happens next is brutal. Nikki attacked him, stabbed him multiple times. This wasn't one wound in a struggle. This was sustained, vicious, planned. Mucari was 5'4". His dad says Nikki was twice his size. And while I think that's grief exaggerating, she definitely had the advantage. Mucari never stood a chance, collapsed, bled out, died on her floor. And then Nikki did what every good influencer does in 2025. She made content out of it, grabbed her phone, opened Facebook, hit go live. But I'm not showing you that. You know why? Because his family begged the world to stop sharing it. So we're gonna respect that. What I will show you is what happened after. So while Nikki's streaming, someone watching calls the police. Actually, it was a friend of hers who she FaceTimed. They saw Mucari's body on the floor, saw the blood, and called 911. Police show up at 5:14 a.m., 2 minutes after the call. Look through the window. Yep, there's a dead body. Nikki's inside, moving around, but refusing to come out. Crisis negotiators get her on the phone. She's drunk. Admitted on the live stream, making suicidal statements. Homicidal statements. Telling them she wants suicide by cop. At one point, she comes out on the porch. Police have to shoot her with rubber bullets to get her back inside. For 6 hours this goes on. 6 hours of Nikki talking to negotiators while simultaneously broadcasting to Facebook. And during this whole standoff, she calls that friend back, the one who snitched, and goes off. Screaming about how the only reason they called the police was so they could come steal her stuff after she got arrested. Ma'am, you just committed murder, and you're worried about your furniture? She also said something that made my blood run cold. That her plan was ruined because police showed up too fast. What plan, Nikki? Were you gonna kill more people? Was this supposed to be a murder-suicide? What exactly got ruined? Eventually, she surrenders. Gets taken to the hospital for minor cuts on her hand, probably from the stabbing. Then straight to Macomb County Jail. And that's when the performance really began.
Thank you for your patience.
You're welcome. Can you state your name for the record again?
Sure. Sean Hengeveld-Decreeing on behalf of the people.
Okay. And as for the defense that you've already put your name on the record, I'm not sure if the prosecutors heard that, so if you could just do that again.
Yes, Your Honor. Sonia Hrishko, MIDC arraignment attorney.
And Ms. Robinson, if you could just state your name again for the record.
Dominic Robinson.
All right, thank you. Okay, counsel, how do you want to proceed?
Your Honor, I spoke with Dominic Robinson. I reviewed the charge with my client. We waived the formal reading, asked the court to enter a not guilty plea on my client's behalf, and my client is requesting court-appointed counsel.
State anything.
Yes, just briefly, I appreciate the opportunity to do so. Your Honor, involved in this case was extensive planning, at least to one additional person, what the intention was to kill the now deceased. There was also a Facebook Live confession that identified and showed the deceased lying on the floor. There was a 5-hour standoff with police while they continued to live stream. There were statements that were made by the defendant that he had killed this individual. It should be noted, Your Honor, that there is a high risk of harm to himself or to others. There were several posts on social media leading up to the homicide indicating this. And so because of that, we are requesting a very high bond, no less than $1 million, cash only, no 10%. We do believe that there is a high likelihood of conviction in this case.
Your Honor, my client is 30 years old and resides in Warren. My client does have family in the area. We are requesting a 10% bond.
All right. I'm looking at the whole totality of the circumstances with this case. I'm going to set this as a $2 million cash bond. I do think there's a high risk of harm to the defendant himself as to others. I'm also going to, if in the case it makes bond, it'll be a still cuff tether. I also want a mental health evaluation while this is pending. Against the best interest of everybody in this case. With that being said, counsel, either one of you have anything further to say?
Nothing for the people, Your Honor. Thank you.
Nothing from me, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. We're all concluding that. With that being said, giving you the dates, the 23rd and the 30th of December, both at 8:45, and again, both in front of Judge Michael Chupa. With that being said, we'll conclude this matter for today.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Okay, can we talk about this Zoom court appearance? Because girl, the audacity. This is the same woman who spent 6 hours articulately explaining her motives on Facebook Live, talking to police, negotiating, making demands, fully coherent. But suddenly in court, she's bending her hand at weird angles, looking lost and confused, playing the "I don't understand what's happening" card. Please, we're not stupid. She's angling for a mental health defense, trying to get sent to a psych ward instead of prison. And you know what? The judge wasn't having it. Set her bond at $2 million cash. Prosecutor asked for $1 million. Judge doubled it. Also ordered a mental health evaluation, and if she somehow makes bail, she's got to wear a steel-cuff tether. The charges? First-degree premeditated murder. Not manslaughter, not second-degree. Premeditated, because prosecutors have evidence this was planned, that she told at least one other person beforehand, that there were social media posts for months leading up to it. And her plea? Not guilty. Not guilty. Despite the live stream, despite the confession, despite showing everyone Mucari's body. Make it make sense. But you know what's even more insane than the court performance? What McCarty's family had to do next.
Those who knew McCarty would describe him as a caring person who always laughed and found humor in situations, and who was quick to help others. McCarty was a young, successful, certified chef, and he comes from a family of successful restaurateurs. At just 29 years of age, he has built a clientele that has included people who were affiliated in the NBA and the NFL. Until his untimely death, McCarty was employed by RH Rooftop Restaurant in Birmingham, Michigan, and prided himself on upholding its values of providing a superb dining experience with high standards in hospitality. In the early morning hours of December 12th, McCarty's life changed. He agreed to meet up with someone that he matched with online for a blind date. It is our belief that McCarty was led to believe he was meeting a young woman. McCarty was catfished by this picture. But when he arrived at the location, this is who he was met with. He was encountered by a biological male who was twice his size and who had been plotting to kill him for months. McCarty never stood a chance. McCarty was viciously attacked, likely before he could even process what was happening. McCarty was only about 5'4" tall and outmatched by someone who, by their own admission, had lured him there with the grave intent to murder him. After this person achieved their goal and carried out this premeditated murder, it did not stop there. From our standpoint, McCarty has been murdered 3 times. The first being his physical death, the second, a public execution like medieval times, except his body was dragged through the digital streets of Facebook Live for the World Wide Web to see. The third death was the character assassination that continues to haunt his memory. McCarty did not deserve this. No one deserves this. It is tragic that we have to take time away from our grief to address mean, hateful, baseless rumors online created by someone who is delusional, deceptive, and demonic. But we would like to set the record straight. McCarty had never met his murderer prior to his encounter where he was murdered. McCarty was not a drug dealer, nor did he have a criminal history. McCarty was not an illegal drug user. Law enforcement did the work of investigating false claims made by this individual months ago when the false claims were initially made, and law enforcement officers re-investigated those false claims made against McCarty after McCarty's death. Both times, police concluded that the claims that McCarty caused anyone's death with drugs are completely baseless and unfounded. We do believe that McCarty had a previous relationship with the other deceased person in this scenario, but any accusation that he caused that person's death is a complete lie. And we believe McCarty was murdered as a result of pure hate and jealousy. The fact that 2 men are dead, but the common denominator is sitting in the Macomb County Jail. This person, also known as Nicky Pop, is a master of deception and quite literally a murderer. But somehow has manipulated their social media fans into believing the smear campaign that they have spent months concocting. This social media influencer has driven engagement by basically murdering our son on Facebook Live. And they successfully influenced hundreds, if not thousands of people to believe it was done in the name of love and was justified. To the public, please do not believe every lie that some stranger tells you on the internet. There is an immeasurable pain associated with losing a child, but we have been re-victimized by the fact that this was allowed to be Facebook live streamed with photos of his body reshared for clicks, likes, engagement, and entertainment of others. It is our sincere hope and plea that people become consciously aware of the immeasurable reputational harm that has been done to our loved one, not only by his murderer, but also by others. McCarty was a real person, an innocent person. He has a real family and real friends who have had to read the disgusting online banter and see the horrific online images that Facebook and TikTok have failed to remove. We are attempting to get content removed, but because of the viral nature of this story, these images and falsehoods continue to find a life online. Since Facebook and other platforms have failed to remove these items, we are appealing directly to the public to please report every violent and misleading post that you see. Lastly, we would like to thank the responsible influencers who did not reshare the live stream that displayed McCarty's body, and those who refrained from commenting on a young man who was robbed of an opportunity to defend himself. We would also like to thank law enforcement for taking the suspect alive so that they can face justice, because that individual also did not deserve to die. They deserve to sit in jail for the rest of their lives without the possibility of parole. That is all that I have.
Thank you. Okay.
My name is Sierra Boone. McCarty was my cousin. My grandmother was my sister. I just want to speak on first why people believed unverified claims. I would hope that we can all agree on a basic principle. Someone capable of such a horrific act is not a reliable narrator of events. Yet somehow many people suspended that critical judgment. We've all been taught to question what we see on social media, to verify sources, to think critically. I'm asking everyone to apply that same standard here. My cousin deserves that basic fairness. My cousin lived 29 years full of accomplishment, relationships, and meaning. Those who knew him understand his character. We won't allow speculation from strangers, particularly those who've chosen social media narratives over human decency, to define who he was. His life speaks for itself to those who actually knew him. If someone has formed their entire understanding of this situation from the words of a person who committed these acts, I'd simply say, consider your source. We're all responsible for who and what we choose to believe. I hope people will recognize that and reconsider. Thank you.
McCarty was my cousin. As I often refer to him as my baby, because his mother and myself are sisters. McCarty was so sweet, so kind. He always wore his smile. He did not believe in showing an angry face to anyone. He was always there when you needed him. The last conversation McCarty and I had, we were talking about how good he looked and laughing. That is what I will always have to remember, because I have been robbed of ever seeing him or speaking with him again. Thank you. My name is Tiara Perkins. McCarty was a great friend of mine. And in fact, we called ourselves cousins because our brothers and we're best friends. McCarty taught me how to cook some of my first meals. As a child, he was always full of laughter. I pray that his smile never fades from my memory, that the sound of his laughter never fades from my memory, because he truly was just a loving, happy man. And you're going to miss so much.
McCarty's godmother. He's my very first godchild. And I love McCarty dearly. I was the first one to teach him how to cook, how to prepare meals. We have some fun memories. And the last time we took her, we talked about him coming over and showing me how to cook this kind of steak that he did. And I love him. And I feel like I've been robbed from McCarty. I will never get a chance to see my baby again. Part of me is missing because I lost him, and I love him dearly.
Anybody else? I need you next.
Hi, my name is Felicia. McCarty, my cousin, his mother and I are first cousins. McCarty was a fine young man. When he graduated from high school, he attended Schoolcraft College, where at that time he resided with me, and so he found housing. He was a loving, caring person who aspired to be a chef, and this is very heartbreaking for our family, including, the children in our family. He was very close to my children, and this has prevented us from sleeping at night. All the horrors and the stories that we see on Facebook is just unimaginable for us. And we want the public to know that he was not the person that the social media has presented him as. He was a loving, caring young man who loved his family, and he will be sincerely missed by us. And we just ask that people really know who he is by hearing those stories from his family and friends.
Okay. I think we got at least one more.
McCarty is my best friend. If you know me, I refer to him as my little brother. If anyone wants to honestly see who McCarty is, I advise you to go to his social media page and read about him. And if you can't, scroll beyond that and look at his pictures and what he had to say for himself, because that will give you a clear idea of who he is and why all of these people are in this room today. I love that boy with my soul. He has taught me so much. He has been with me more years than I've been on this earth alive than anything. So I'm asking you to please go out there and read for yourself and see for yourself who McCarty is on his Facebook page. And if you go to his Instagram, you can see it there too.
Excuse me, I need you to just put that in that story. Would you mind doing that and just spelling first?
We're gonna do that. I'm gonna make sure we do it.
Like I said, I think we got at least. Yeah. One more. We gonna get it after.
My name is Luana Wright. My nephew McCarty was taken from us in a way that no family should ever have to endure. Being gay is not a crime. Yet being a part of the LGBTQ community, we often have to live in fear of judgment, bullying, physical abuse, and even murder. What makes this even worse and more painful is that realizing sometimes that the harm comes from within your own community. We cannot allow this. We cannot replicate the same system of violence and supremacy that we fight against every day. To my LGBTQ family, we must do better. We must hold each other accountable. We must create safe spaces for all of us across race, gender, and sexuality. We must stand against injustice no matter where it comes from. We are already struggling under the weight of scrutiny of who we are. We cannot add to that struggle by turning against one another. The fight of equality continues, but it must be rooted in truth, justice, and love. The truth will set us free. Justice will honor McCarty's life. And solidarity will make us stronger. Thank you.
So that's what they're dealing with. Not just losing McCarty, but fighting for his name while strangers debate whether their son deserved to die. And I need you to understand what his dad meant when he said McCarty was murdered 3 times. The first murder, his physical death, the stabbing, the blood, the last breath. The second murder, the public execution, his body paraded through the digital streets of Facebook Live, modern-day medieval punishment. The third murder, the character assassination, the lies Nikki told, the narrative that he was a drug dealer, that he deserved it. That's still happening right now in comment sections. This case reminds me of something we covered before. The McDonald's employee who posted about her breakdown for months. Nobody intervened until she stabbed her manager. Same pattern here. Public deterioration. Warning signs everywhere. Nobody doing anything. Because we treat social media like entertainment, not reality. Someone posts, "I want them dead." We like it, share it, keep scrolling. We don't think they mean it. Until they do. And by then, somebody's already gone. So what's the lesson? Don't trust dating apps? Maybe. Video chat before meeting. Tell someone where you're going, all that. But I think it's bigger than that. Maybe it's about how we consume tragedy. How we turn deaths into viral moments. How we pick sides based on what the killer says instead of facts. Maybe it's about recognizing when posts stop being venting and start being threats. Or maybe there's no lesson. Maybe this is just what happens now in a world where murders get likes and killers become influencers. I don't have answers. What I do know, Mucari Finley deserved better. He deserved to live, to not be catfished and executed, to not have his body turned into content. And his family deserved to grieve in private, Not beg strangers to stop spreading lies. Remember his name correctly. Mucari Finley. Chef, son, friend, dog dad to Cider. Not a drug dealer. Not someone who deserved this. Not a viral moment. Just Mucari. Let that man rest.